What would you do if the man you built a life with suddenly turned your love into a ledger? I thought we were building a future together. Turns out, he was just adding up what was his. It was late, too late for arguments, but there we were, sitting in the cramped kitchen of our brand new apartment, a single overhead bulb flickering above like a lazy heartbeat. The air was dense with unsaid things. I sat across from my husband, his fingers drumming on the cheap table we'd promised to replace but never did. If we're buying the apartment, I said, trying to sound calm, it goes under both our names. Otherwise, I'll take back my share. We saved together. My grandmother's flat was sold. I contributed more. Why should it be only yours? He looked at me like I'd grown horns. You're being materialistic, he muttered, shifting in his chair like it burned. We're a family. Why count every dollar? I didn't blink. If it doesn't matter, then why not share the ownership? He froze. He didn't expect that. I'd always been the quiet one. The agreeable one. But something in me had changed the moment we signed those mortgage papers and I saw only his name at the top. Because I'm the man of the house, he snapped. That's how it's always been. Not anymore, I said. That was the first crack. The first sign that the life I thought we were building together was never ours, it was his, and I was just living in it. The apartment wasn't much. 2 bedrooms, a small balcony, and a view of the alley that smelled like fried oil and old regrets. But to me, it was a symbol. Of sacrifice. Of scraped-together down payments. Of nights working overtime shifts while he pursued one failed business venture after another. And now? Now he acted like my contribution was a favor he did me. In the following days, the energy shifted. At first, it was subtle, missed calls, half-hearted kisses, his phone screen always tilted just out of my view. Then came the longer work hours, the skipped dinners, the receipts for things we never discussed. One night, lying in our shared bed with his back turned to me, I stared at the ceiling until morning light crept in through the curtains. That was when my best friend's words echoed back to me. He doesn't love you. You love him. That's the difference. You work 2 jobs. He eats steak while you eat scraps. You lost yourself. Get her back. Get her back. I couldn't even remember who she was anymore. The girl who laughed until her ribs hurt. The one who danced barefoot in the kitchen. The one who dreamed of writing novels but shelved them to build a family that barely saw her. I wanted her back. I needed her back. And I had a feeling she wasn't going to return until I stopped begging for a seat at a table I helped build. I used to love the way his keys sounded in the door. It meant he was home. Safe. Ours. Now I flinched when I heard them. Because lately, home didn't smell like his cologne anymore. It smelled like something unfamiliar, like another woman's perfume, like cheap hotel soap, like lies. He started returning later and later from work, and when I asked, he'd shrug. Clients. Traffic. Don't start. I stopped asking. Not because I didn't care, but because I was afraid of the answer. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I had changed. Maybe I wasn't exciting anymore. Maybe 2 jobs and budgeting apps had killed whatever spark we had left. I even considered dyeing my hair, as if that could erase the miles between us. But then came the hidden expenses. The strange charges on our joint card, dinners in restaurants I'd never seen, hotel stays he claimed were for, conferences, jewelry I never received. He was cheating. Maybe not physically yet, but emotionally, certainly. And soon, I feared, the body would follow where the heart had already fled. I tried to confront him once. Hey, who's Natalie? I asked, holding up his phone that buzzed with a "can't wait to see you again" kissmark text. He snatched it from my hand like a teenager caught red-handed. A client, he lied. She kisses her clients goodnight? He didn't answer. Just walked away, muttering something about boundaries. That night, I stood in our kitchen, the one I designed, the one I paid for, and felt like a stranger in my own life. I remembered a time when we'd lie on the floor dreaming about the future. A house full of light. Maybe a kid or two. A little dog. Love. Now I was lying to myself just to fall asleep. The final nail came on a Thursday. I came home early from job number 2 and found a wine glass in the sink, lipstick smudged on the rim. Not mine. The scent on the rim was citrus and musk, sweet and predatory. Like her. I stared at that glass for an hour. Then I washed it. I washed it like I had washed everything else in this relationship, his mistakes, his absences, his betrayals. Scrubbed it clean and placed it back in the cupboard like it never happened. That night, I packed a small bag. I didn't leave. Not yet. I just needed to know I could. And then I sat in our too quiet living room, scrolling through job listings and rental ads, wondering when I became the kind of woman who had to run to feel safe. I didn't want to run. I wanted to stand. And something told me, my moment was coming. We ate dinner in silence that night. The kind of silence that wasn't empty. It was full of every fight we never had, every word we swallowed to keep the peace, every truth we dodged because the lie was more convenient. I made roasted chicken and steamed vegetables. He didn't even look at the plate. Halfway through, he dropped his fork with a metallic clang. "I'm leaving," he said. I looked up slowly, calmly. "Okay." He blinked. "That's it?" I took a sip of water. "You've been gone for months. Your body just finally caught up." The words hit him like a slap. He stood abruptly, pacing the room like a man searching for an exit that didn't exist. "I'm tired of this gray mouse version of you," he snapped, gesturing to me like I was a lifeless thing. "You're always tired. You're boring. I don't even recognize you anymore." I stared at him, at the man who used to kiss my forehead after long shifts, who once drew hearts on napkins and tucked them in my bag. That man was gone. He stepped closer, lower voice now. "Actually, I want you to move out." I raised an eyebrow. "I need space," he continued, "for my new wife." There it was. He didn't even try to sugarcoat it. No slow fade. No fake concern. Just the dagger, twisted deep. I stood. Not to cry. Not to scream. Just to face him, eye to eye. "You're free to leave," I said, my voice smooth like glass. "But this is my apartment too. I'm not going anywhere." He laughed bitterly, like I was a child playing house. "You're still my wife," he barked. I shook my head. "Not anymore. You think you're gonna keep this place?" "I don't think. I know. Half of this place is mine. If you want to leave, pack your things. They'll be on the couch by morning." He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. And maybe he didn't. Because the woman he controlled, the one who tiptoed around his moods, budgeted every penny, cooked every meal, and begged for scraps of love, was dead. In her place stood someone who was done apologizing for taking up space. He tried to bluster, to puff out his chest and raise his voice. But I didn't flinch. And in that moment, I realized something profound. He wasn't angry because I said no. He was angry because, for the first time, I meant it. The divorce was swift. He contested nothing, not out of grace, but out of arrogance. He thought if he gave me what I wanted on paper, I'd give him what he wanted in spirit, an easy exit. I didn't. The apartment stayed split, exactly as I demanded. Legally. Publicly. Painfully. I watched him pack his things with the emotional detachment of a stranger. He loaded up his boxes in silence, only pausing to sneer, "I'll sell my half to someone random. Let's see how you like that." I shrugged. "Do what you must." He didn't scare me anymore. After he left, the apartment echoed. Not in the romantic way. Not like it missed him. More like the silence finally had room to breathe. like the walls exhaled. For a few weeks, it was just me and the quiet. I filled it with soft music, candles, late-night journaling. Slowly, I started to remember who I was before I became his shadow. And then, one evening, I came home from work and sensed something off. The door was unlocked. Inside, the air smelled like garlic and rosemary. There was jazz playing softly in the background. My heart leapt into my throat. I stepped cautiously into the kitchen. A man, tall, bearded, unfamiliar, stood at my stove. Cooking. I froze. He turned, holding a ladle. "Oh. Sorry. I didn't mean to startle you." He had kind eyes. "The kind you don't see much in this city." "I'm the new co-owner," he said gently. "I got the keys this morning. I figured I'd meet you over dinner instead of lawyers." My jaw tightened. "You're the buyer?" He smiled sheepishly. "Yeah. I hope that's okay. If not, I can call the agent, reschedule." "No," I cut him off. It's okay. Just unexpected." He nodded. "Fair enough. Can I offer you some pasta? I make a mean bolognese." I sat down at the table in a daze. He poured us each a glass of wine. "I'm Mark, by the way." "Claire," I replied softly. His eyes narrowed, curious. "Wait. Claire?" I looked up. "You were at that art exhibit 2 years ago. The woman with the red umbrella, right?" I blinked. "You remember that?" He chuckled. "You stood in front of that painting for 15 minutes. I remember thinking, she sees something I don't." I laughed, genuinely. For the first time in a long time. He smiled. "I've wondered about you ever since." The room tilted slightly. The past, the present, the heartbreak, all overlapping. I looked down at the table, then back at him. Before I vanished into his shadow, I whispered, "Yes, that was me." My voice cracked. He didn't pry. Just quietly set a napkin beside me and said, "Welcome back." And just like that, something shifted. Not everything was healed. But something had finally begun. Dinner was warm. Real. The kind where conversation didn't feel like a performance and silence didn't feel like failure. Mark didn't talk over me. He didn't offer solutions I didn't ask for. He just listened. And I mean really listened. I told him everything. Not in a dramatic monologue, not in some therapeutic breakthrough. Just bits and pieces, between bites of pasta and sips of red wine. He drained me, I said quietly. Not just emotionally. He took pieces of me I didn't even realize I was giving away. I gave him my time, my energy, my body, my trust. And he just left. Mark didn't flinch. He didn't pity me either. He looked at me like I was whole, even in my broken places. "Then leave the past here," he said gently. "Right here in this kitchen. Tomorrow, you take time off. I'm taking you on a real break. I'll handle everything." I blinked, stunned. "Why?" His eyes were steady. "Because it's time someone looked after you." That night, after he left, I cried. Not from sadness. From the unfamiliar sensation of being seen without judgment. Heard without interruption. Held, even without touch. The next morning, I called in sick for the first time in 3 years. Mark picked me up at 10 a.m., with 2 coffees, a playlist of old jazz and indie folk, and a plan, no plans. We drove out of the city, windows down, wind in our hair, no destination in mind. Somewhere between the roadside diner and the lake overlook, I started laughing. He glanced over, smiling. "What's funny?" "I forgot how good it feels," I said. "To not apologize for taking up space." We stopped at a lake town and spent the day like teenagers, ice cream, paddle boats, long walks, teasing jokes, shared stories. And then, the sun started to set. We sat on a bench facing the water. He watched me carefully. "I don't want to overstep," he said, "but I need you to know something. You're not too much. You're not hard to love. You were just with someone who didn't know how." I looked at him, heart trembling. "Do you believe in second chances?" I asked. "I believe in earned ones," he replied. And just like that, the world tilted again. But this time, it felt like balance. It started like any ordinary weekend. Mark and I were strolling through a mall, a casual Saturday errand run, something I hadn't done in years without feeling rushed or judged. I was glowing, alive in a way I hadn't been since, well, maybe ever. And I was showing. Just barely. 6 months along, soft curve under a knit sweater. My hands kept finding my belly, not protectively, but proudly. He was by my side, carrying a bag of baby onesies and chocolate-covered almonds. I made a dumb joke, and he laughed too hard on purpose, just to see me laugh harder. That's when I saw him. My ex. Across the shop floor, standing beneath a glaring fluorescent light, frozen mid-argument with a woman I recognized from Instagram. The new wife. She was holding a designer coat in one hand, tapping the price tag with her nail. "I want this one," she demanded. "It's expensive," he muttered, distracted. He trailed off. Because he saw me. He looked me up and down, my round belly, my soft smile, the way Mark's hand found the small of my back with the ease of real affection. His jaw dropped. He stepped forward, incredulous. "So that's your game," he spat. Got close to him just to keep the apartment? Before I could say a word, Mark turned toward him, calm, protective, firm. "That's my wife you're talking to." X's mouth opened, then shut, then opened again. "You think this is over?" Mark raised an eyebrow. "No. I think it's finished." And then. A single, clean punch. I don't know where it came from. Mark had barely moved. But in one flash, my ex was on the ground. Stunned. Silent. The mall froze. A ripple of gasps, phones raised, murmurs. His new girlfriend looked down at him, disgusted. "You're pathetic," she hissed. "No money. No home. No spine." And then, heels clicking, she stepped over him and walked away. Mark turned to me. "You okay?" I nodded. "More than okay." In that moment, I wasn't just avenged. I was vindicated.